important, and yet normal human emotions keep us back. So how do you rescue yourself from your own triangle? And this is what we're doing right now, is one, defining the internal narrative, moving from they haven't forgotten you to actually they actually do remember you, and that you're actually interested in having a conversation with them or reconnecting with them. Mini goals to form habits, what we're doing right now. By the end of this webinar, my hope is that you reach out to 4 to 8 people with some type of reconnection that can support, whether it's looking to rebuild your network or raise your professional profile for your professional services practice. And what I think is really interesting is what folks in the mental health community have uncovered around journaling, and journaling the most likely scenario. So if you're thinking about getting back in touch with someone, you need to create 2 wilder scenarios to actually make that reconnection happen. So, a wildly negative scenario, like I want to get back in touch with someone. What's the worst thing that could happen? They yell at me, or they, want to sue me, or, something ridiculous, right? And then the most positive scenario, oh my goodness, thank you for getting back in touch with me. I'm going to write you into my will. Here's $1 million. Thank you for so much for getting back in touch with me. Both scenarios, not true. What's the most likely when you try to get back in touch with someone? Great to hear from you. Let's connect. And that's how you get out of your own triangle. Then it becomes a function of, okay, so how do I reconnect with someone? And the reality is, don't apologize. There's nothing for you to apologize for. You've done nothing wrong other than not being in touch. And frankly, we're all leading busy lives, just as the people that you want to reconnect with in your networks. So guess what? Here's where the social science is loud and clear on what you need to do when you want to get back in touch with your dormant ties. One is gratitude. And what a great timing that we're doing this webinar right before the holidays. I mean, for me, from like Thanksgiving to New Year's is just one big gratitude party, right? I'm thankful for, my first boss who allowed me to do my first brief. I'm thankful for that one partner that got me on this case, that got me more stand-up time. I'm thankful for, this McDermott Will alum that helped me go in-house, right? So the way that you reconnect with somebody is sharing your gratitude with others. So often I'll talk to people and say, all right, do you have a gratitude practice? And they'll say, yes. Have you aligned your gratitude practice with your network? Because that's what your network actually wants. They want to know that you've made a difference with them. And what I find fascinating is that there was a new set of research this summer that came out from the University of Pittsburgh after I did my book. And they interviewed over 13,000 people around this notion of reconnection. And the title of the New York Times article was Text a Friend. And the one thing that came out is that we all underestimate the positive effect we have on others. And the highest impact we had on someone is actually sharing gratitude with someone we've lost touch with. So, and there's another way to look about this, positive memories. So the social science behind nostalgia. So if you look at all these emotions we have that keep us in a triangle, there's a wonderful antidote that we also have, nostalgia. And if you actually share a specific memory with someone, it actually creates a higher level of connection between people. So if you've lost touch with someone 3 years out, 5 years out, 10 years out, even 20, 25 years out, the ability to share a positive memory and what it meant for you specifically to that person is actually a wonderful way to reconnect. So of the people that you've written down, what memories do you have of the people that you've listed? Okay. So I want you to take a minute. And if you want to put into the chat, like, I want to get back in touch with so-and-so because they did this for me, feel free to share. I'd be curious to hear, what people are thinking about. Because at the end of the day, too often we think of your network and networking as going to these massive events and exchanging bunches of cards and where to put your QR code on your LinkedIn so that you can meet that next person, where in reality, we have ignored the people we've lost touch with. And the reality is the social science could not be more clear that one, dormant ties, weak ties will help you in your career transition. It'll help you with an authentic social network. It will also help you with your own professional services practice. Going back to the people you already know, best use of time, Monday to Friday, and sharing memories is a wonderful way to do it. So I'll be checking the chat. If anybody wants to say, I want to reconnect with so-and-so, and this is what I want to say. You don't have to use specific names, even though, of course, we're in the circle of trust. But I want to make sure that these two things are linked, right? And that it's clear for everybody on what your opportunity is. So, and I'll be checking the chat as things go along. So of course, I'm a Hamilton fan. When I think of in the room where it happens, that's where I think of associations. Again, I think that when we look at dormant ties and weak ties, what's the best place to rekindle your dormant and weak ties? It's now that we're actually back in person and that we're actually seeing each other again. The number of conferences that my clients have attended or I've attended this year where we're starting to see each other in person again, and especially in places where people have held leadership roles where they were doing things virtually and then seeing them in person. It's a wonderful way to think about how to connect and reconnect with people. So I think there's too much literature on how to act at a networking event and not enough literature around the notion of, okay, Jason, I got you on dormant and weak ties. It's something I'm interested in. How do I act on this? And I think the important piece in all of this is not only to be members of the associations where either your clients might be or in-house where you might want to work, but it's to be active in your local, regional, national associations and taking leadership roles so that you're looking at not just a one and done, I went to this event, I've networked, I feel better, to rather an intentional and consistent approach to one type of association. And even if you're introverted in nature, taking a leadership role within an association by default gets you into meeting people. So huge fan of associations as a means to actually get in front of your authentic social network. So your commitments in the next 30 days. Who are the first people that you're going to be reaching out to? What is the memory you're going to share? And then how much time are you going to block in your calendar? And when I say time blocking, it can be as easy as, 6 minutes, I'm going to share a memory with so-and-so. Or half an hour, I'm going to reconnect with 3 people. It's one of these things where keeping in touch can be just as simple and as easy as breathing or brushing your teeth. And what you will notice is that this is a more authentic approach rather than transactional networking. What can you do for me? You're leading with what connects you to others. So that is your mandate. Pretty please. So then it becomes a function of, okay, Jason, great. Well, how do I do this? So, and again, I think that people overthink this. You can create your own file. It could be for sponsors and mentors. It could be from, here were the years that I was at McDermott Will. Here were the clients I was interacting with. Here were the other associates on that case. Here are the paralegals. Here are all the different types of people that I want to reconnect with. So some people want to do it chronologically. Others, I say, if it's easier to remember when you were at a place for a certain time. But at the end of the day, it can be a simple Microsoft Word file. It can be a simple Excel file. This does not have to be complicated. But what I will say is the notes that you write to yourself should be around when you're going to follow up. And then secondly, what's the memory that you shared? So that you yourself have a place that you can remember your own memories. Here's the fun part. Every single time that you become nostalgic with a particular person, it actually kicks into your brain to remember other memories of other people. And therein lies your keeping in touch strategy. So too often people say, I don't have enough time for keeping in touch. Well, we now know what we need to do. Second, we know what it is and a place where you can house all of this. So if you don't have an Excel file, just start one. And it's as easy as, and maybe you want to do 4 tabs, current week, current strong, dormant week, dormant strong. You could do college and law school plus work. However you want to organize it that makes sense for you, start a file. It's an incredible use of your time. So when you think of your portfolio, and again, this goes into the types of people that could be helping you in your social network, either make a career transition or grow your professional services practice. So as you're connecting and reconnecting with people, what the research has shown is that there's 4 types of people in your network that can have a wonderful effect on helping you along your way. The 4 types of people are: 1, the cheerleader, huge fan of Waterboy, always having people in your network saying, you can do it, right? The second type of person is the filter. These are the types of people that just don't say yes all the time. They're like, have you considered this? Have you thought about this? They challenge you. They get you outside of your comfort zone. They're able to help you ask really good questions to get you to, I have all these ideas, to a better place. There's the connector, and that comes from Malcolm Gladwell's tipping point in its classic sense. Someone that says, based on what you want to do, I know a couple of people that can help you with this career transition, or, I see that you want to build more business. Why don't you talk to so-and-so? I think they can help you there. So having connectors in your network is a really great thing for you. And then there's the what are known as the information givers. They're subject matter experts. They know everything about a particular topic. So when you start to think about your tie strength, you can also layer in what are the types of people in your network that are helping you towards these goals that you have, right? And so think about your relationships also in the things that they are providing to you. And another way to think about it for all the folks on the line, because I think not only is everybody a potential protege and a potential mentee, but I think everybody here is also a sponsor and a mentor themselves. What role do you play in your relationships that you have? So one of the things that I think we can also think about, and this works for career, this also works for business development, is as you're thinking about your relationships. So there's a whole track on relationships and getting back in touch and building out those lists, which is a really good use of your time. And that's one area that you can play in. And really, that's why I called it relationships to infinity, because it's infinite in the amount of time that you can spend on it. The other piece is you and your relationship to yourself, right? So, and typically when, folks have more than 5 or 10 years experience, getting to 20 to 25 to 30 years of experience, I always ask them to play out these 4 quadrants. When you look at your work history, what are the things that you have been doing best? The second is, what are the strengths that you want to be using more of in your day? The strengths that you want to be using more of in your day are these 2 concentric circles of things you're good at that bring you energy, right? There are professional daydreams that everybody has, where you're thinking about, what, they get a chance to do work that's super interesting. What could that look like? And then whom do you admire? Your values, right? And so for those that are making a career transition, that allows you to answer the following question. So what do you want to do? And it should be having 3 buckets in your response: industries and sectors, employers, and roles. So instead of saying, I'm a tax attorney, it's rather, the place that I've been most successful and where I've enjoyed my work is working specifically with benefit plans, in these types of situations. And I'm really good at ERISA. And the places that I've been most successful are these mid-size benefit plans. And the role that I'm looking for is I've had leadership as well. I'm looking to be a deputy general counsel or a general counsel, so that you're moving away from just your subject matter expertise, but your ability to articulate to others, right? And so the reason I bring this up, and back to the first slide, you ask for a job, you get advice. You ask for advice, you get a job, is that you can actually be getting advice on the types of places that you're going after. This also plays out for those that are looking to build their professional services practice. Are your targets correct? And there's something out of Duke's Business School that I really like. It's called the LAMP method. And essentially, it asks you to create a target list of potential employers. So if you're looking for a career transition, to have a target list of employers. Certainly, if you're looking to build a professional services practice, you should also have a target list. What I don't like about this list, and often I encourage folks in my trainings to think about, is that too often we list out organizations we know and that anybody knows. In reality, your initial list should be a mix of companies that we've heard of and companies that we have not heard of. So for those that are looking to make a career transition, you're really building out two lists. You're doing your dormant strong, dormant weak, current strong, current weak. That's list one. And then you're aligning it to people. And so you can go to Michelle after this and say, you know what, after Jason's talk, here are some of the things that I'm thinking about in terms of the relationships I have and where I want to go. And so that allows for you to, one, have a clearer articulation of the what do you want to do question, as well as talking about the relationships that you do have. And so huge fan of LAMP. So the L in LAMP is the list. The A in LAMP is alumni. So do you know somebody at that organization? Do you do a LinkedIn search and you have a first or a second degree connection there? Motivation is 1 through 5. How excited are you at that organization? And then number 5, the P is posting. Do they have a job posting? And sometimes organizations don't have job postings, which again invites you to actually reach out and have a conversation. So as we think about your next steps and the key concepts, in reality, it's about intention. So keeping in touch, your authentic social network, regardless of where you want to go, is about gratitude and sharing a memory. So my daily intention after I've dropped my kids off at school, who do I thank today? And that allows for you to have a more authentic approach to people that you already know. First and foremost, personalize it. You have a 4-step approach to 1, identify the person. 2, no, there's no need to apologize. Be nostalgic, and then give them open time for them to respond to you. The notion of I still remember when is a great way to connect and reconnect with people. Remember that you're adding things to your calendar. It doesn't need to be an hour. It can be easily as 6, 12, 18 minutes daily where you're just sharing memories and being authentic and real with folks. The notion of getting out of your triangle and journaling it out so that you can break your own Bermuda Keep in Touch triangle. Again, something that we all have, and in reality, all can get over. So, and yes, dormant ties do make you smarter. So I encourage everybody to keep in touch for really real and truly true. One other thing, my wife and I have a podcast called Parents at Work. And so it's something fun that we do to interview folks that are parents at work and all the things that we all go through. So I say keep in touch. That's my newsletter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And I'm now happy to take questions.
Thank you, Jason. While we wait for any questions to come in, one more housekeeping thing. We will be sharing a complimentary copy of Jason's book. Jason, do you have a book there that you can hold up? I knew it. Amazing. So all our alumni need to do is complete the post-event survey, which you'll receive via email later this week, along with a recording of our video today. Make sure to clearly write in your name and mailing address, and we will send you a copy of the book. Jason, I really appreciated your presentation. It actually made me think one of our partners at the firm makes it a goal every week to connect with 5 people every single week. And he has time booked specifically on Fridays in case he doesn't get to them throughout the week. On Friday morning, he goes in and makes sure that he's reached out to his 5 people.
Time is our greatest asset. And you often can find a person's priorities in how they use their time. I love that anecdote about your partner blocking time for this, right? I saw some quotes in the chat. Yes, these slides will be shared via Adrienne. So I will be sending them to her. She will be sharing it with you. And I'm happy to take questions.
One other piece that I find helpful, obviously LinkedIn is very helpful for staying in touch with people. And after I saw you speak the first time, what I started doing was anytime I saw something pop up on LinkedIn that made me think of a person I formerly worked with, all I do is go in and send them that link or send them the post that I saw on LinkedIn and say, hey, this made me think of you. Hope you're doing well. Then you're not even putting it on them that they have to respond, but you're reminding them that you thought of them. You're still a person who we have, a relationship or a connection with.
Yeah. And, I think, when we talk about LinkedIn, I think it's a wonderful opportunity for everybody. I just want to show something to everyone because it's probably not on people's radars. So I'm going to just share my LinkedIn. This will be a bonus search for everybody on the line. So we've just had this whole conversation on dormant ties and weak ties, right? And when LinkedIn was created, it was like my love language, right? So I had read, Tipping Point in 2000. I was in business school in 2004 when my wife was in law school in 2004. And so I was talking to her even in 2004. I'm like, babe, weak ties. She's like, yeah, whatever. I got torts. I'm studying, not now. And so I joined LinkedIn in January 2004. So I've been on LinkedIn for 18 plus years now. My favorite search, and everybody can watch with me. So you go to My Network, right? So there's 3 things you do with LinkedIn. 1 is your profile. That's for another conversation. 2 is sharing content. Again, another conversation. The keep in touch party begins in your network, right? So you click on your network, you then click on connections, and then you go to search with filters. And this is where the joy begins. And you go to all filters. And you can search your current connections, first and second degree connections. And guess what? You can go to your former company. You can even find former McDermott Will people, McDermott Will, just by clicking that. And boom, you can actually do a search on your own LinkedIn connections. That also assumes, everybody on the line, that you have actually connected with all the people in your network. So the number of times that I work with really, really smart people, I'm like, did you connect with that friend from law school? Did you connect with your McDermott Will alumni? And they're like, no, we're not. LinkedIn is only as good as who you're actually connected to in real life. And LinkedIn is only as good as what you ask it. So the search for filters is my favorite place to actually look at the people that are currently in your network. And since we're doing a McDermott, my other place is actually going to McDermott's LinkedIn page. McDermott has his own LinkedIn page, and you can actually find on McDermott's page the people that are connected to McDermott. And then you can do your own search and sort and where they studied and where they live and the people you might know and those kinds of things. So really, LinkedIn is one great search party, but it's getting your analog ideas here and here before you feed LinkedIn what you want. So.
Absolutely. LinkedIn's a great tool. I'd also encourage you all to join Alumni Connect, which is our alumni platform. It includes a global directory of our current people and alumni who have logged into the site. And then that is really all people from your McDermott network that you can connect with and find that may be working at companies that you might be interested in as well. Again, to access that site, it's mwe.com/alumni. If anyone has any questions from our presentation today, you can always email us at alumni@mwe.com, or I encourage you all to connect with Jason, myself, or Michelle, and we're happy to put you in touch with any services or questions that you have. So thank you again, Jason. I loved the gratitude party idea. Certainly going to start incorporating that, especially now that we are at the start of kind of the holiday season. So I'm grateful for you for the time that you spent with us today. I'm grateful to all of our alumni and friends of McDermott that joined us today. And we look forward to staying in touch.
Thank you, Adrienne, and keep in touch. Thank you.
Absolutely. Bye, everyone. Still got a few people on the line.
All right.
Here we go. All right.
So just there was about a 10-minute delay in the start of the YouTube stream. We were talking to our YouTube rep. They just didn't initiate it on their side. So they took the brunt of the force for that one. But once we got up and running, there was about 10 people on the YouTube side, and I saw a bunch of the ones that were waiting. I was posting like the registration link in the YouTube chat, so a lot of them I think followed that, and I saw the attendee count go up.
Okay. I did get a couple of emails from people saying that they wound up dropping off, and I just promised to send them the recording after the fact.
We'll have the recording.
Adrienne, I got a text from one of our alums saying that he thoroughly enjoyed the presentation.
Yay.
So I'm not sure why he didn't just drop it in the text box, but I think it was his excuse for reaching out to me.
Reaching out.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think it was good. Some like very real, but like simple things. If you just sit down and spend a few minutes, I was even making my note card, like while you were talking, I'm like, okay, who else am I missing? Right.
Nice.
So it's good to just have that reminder, but also to give you some like things you can easily do.
Mm-hmm.
And when people say networking, this is what I think. Like, this is like, for me, the real networking. This is where, the real action is. So
yeah, absolutely.
I will.
All right.
I will let you know if any of the alumni reach out to me as a result of this.
Awesome. So, and then we will, I will send 2 post-event emails. One will go to those that joined with a copy of the survey so that they can register. And the rest will go to anyone who registered but didn't join. That way they have a copy and they can watch the recording, which is what we often find with our webinars. That I was hoping we would get a few more live because of the book, but I think people want to make sure they get the recording so that they can watch it whenever they have time. So
I understand.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for everything. Jason, I will submit for a check request just based on our previous experience. It sometimes can take a while. So if you haven't gotten it within a couple of weeks, please let me know so I can get on our accounts payable team.
Sounds good.
Okay.
And what I'll do afterwards is I'll send you a PDF of the slides.
Excellent.
And I'll take off any of the animation. So it just sees it, you see it as a static slide.
Great.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Ryan, for jumping in and helping with everything.
Of course. Yep.
Thank you,
guys.
Bye,
Ryan.
everyone.
Bye. Thanks, Adrienne. Thanks.